Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to bring you the top 10 sequel board games of 2021. Let me explain what this list means. It does not mean that this is a list of games which were the reprints or second editions, third editions, whatever of the previous games. This does mean that these are the games which were re-implemented the previous games in a new way. These were proper sequels which used the mechanics of the first one and brought a new game in it to the audience. So these are purely new games, but when I'm listing them, when I list them from 10 to 1, it does not mean that I'm ranking them only based on innovation or the new mechanics that they introduce, but I'm also looking at the fact that the game was by itself as a game and how fun it was as a game to play. So do consider that when you are looking at this ranking. The reason for actually making this separate list is because at the end of the year, many reviewers will be making their top 10 games of 2021, and I think many of these games might be overlooked because they will be looking at pure new things, and that's not fair to the games that have just used some of the previous content or the previous game IPs that have been developed and just are now developing something new out of that. And that's what the essence of this list is. So, without further ado, let's start this list. On number 10 is going to be Horrified American Monsters. In game of Horrified, it is a co-op game in which you are trying to fight these legendary mythic monsters, and what you're trying to do is roam around the map, collect different goods of different colors and values, and using those goods you're trying to solve different kind of puzzles which are unique to each of the monsters. So different monsters will have different mechanics, that what kind of goods they may require, which require you to flip these tokens or move these tokens on these different boards that the enemies have to solve their unique puzzles to have a chance of beating them while saving the villagers or the town people in these games. And that's the theme of Horrified. What Horrified American Monsters brought, even though broadly the game mechanics have been same as the previous game just called Horrified, which used the universal monsters, the main game has been the same, but the new monsters are a little bit more gamerified. And that's what the unique thing was. The game has always been about these unique monsters and how you can mix and match them to have fun gaming sessions with all the family. It's a family level game, and the American Monsters brought enough variety in the monsters which make it a better, slightly better game than the Universal Monsters, even though the monsters are less famous than the ones in the Universal Monsters box, which was the first version. So I still would prefer that for the people who have slightly grown out of the family game box and want a little bit more variety. So on number 10, Horrified American Monsters. On number 9, it's going to be Funfair. Funfair is a re-implementation of Unfair, a game about tableau building, about a theme park. Now, personally, I still prefer Unfair over Funfair because Unfair was a bigger box and had more themes to the theme park available in the box. Plus, there were some take that elements, and personally, I have no objection to take that. I think they add fun to the game, so I have no objection to Unfair. But the reason why I think the Funfair, the new version, does make this list is because the Funfair made it into a more smaller, more compact and more affordable box as compared to Unfair, and that's why it will be more easier for people to actually get that into their houses. It's a wonderful theme, and if you can make it more affordable, then why not? And that's why if you're looking for a fun, colorful theme about making these beautiful Funfair theme parks, then you cannot go wrong with Funfair. On number 8, it's going to be Descent 3rd edition, Legends in the Dark. Now, Descent Journeys in the Dark was the second edition of the game, and personally, some people think that it has diverted too much from the original formula, but not in my opinion, because Descent, the second edition, already had a fully co-op mode. Descent has been originally a classic dungeon crawler that you go through the dungeon, you throw dice to kill monsters and then fight. But the main mode of Descent second edition was that it was a one versus all. But in my household, my wife never liked to play it that way. She liked to play it in a co-op mode, which was an app-assisted mode in which you can run the app or in on Steam, and then the app controls the monsters, whereas you can control the heroes, just like in Mansions of Madness, and then you can play against the computer. So this mode was always there in the second edition, and Descent third edition has done just that. They cut out the one versus all mode and just kept the co-op mode. The reason why this game is still low, even though I love dungeon crawlers, I love fantasy themes, and I can play as many of them as you can give me, but why it's low on my list is because, in my opinion, Descent third edition has just gone too much in the app universe and less in the board game. So even for example, the fight resolutions are happening in the app. And the game has become too much about making the scenario or the game board the 3D terrain rather than playing the game on the board itself. In my opinion, Descent was just about right. Even I don't like the amount of app interaction that you get to do in Mansions of Madness. In my opinion, reading all the text from Mansions of Madness on the screen, it's too much in my opinion. It's still a fun game, but it's lack raw due to all that nuisance that comes with the game. On number 7, it's going to be Chronicles of Crime Millennium series, which contains actually 3 games which you can get separately as well, which is the 1400 series, the 1900 and the 2400 series. Chronicles of Crime is a game about crime solving where you will be using an app assisted mode to actually solve the crime. Each of the cards, characters, locations, items have a QR code. So if you want to interact, so for example, you want to talk to a person about an item, you will use the app to scan the person and then scan the item. So you will be investigating the person or asking the person about that item, or a person about his opinion about the other person. So in this way you can investigate different locations, investigate different people. There is a VR mode where you will be investigating the crime scenes, and using your observation you will be seeing, this looks interesting, there seems to be some blood stains here. So then you can scan a blood stain card and then investigate more about that. So using these kind of app assisted mechanisms and physical game elements, you will be solving crimes. What the 1400 series brought is that now you have visions of the future plus a dog who you can use to actually sniff things, and he can add more detail or more information to your investigation. With what the 1900 series brought is that, like a typical exit or unlock type escape room cards, there are some puzzle cards that come with the game that you can use to solve puzzles with it. So a very classic exit room type. In 2400 you get enhancement, cybernetic enhancements that you can use, which can enhance your vision, which can enhance different kind of things, which add a lot more uniqueness to the game. So instead of Chronicles of Crime, the original box, which was a pure crime solving one, all of these 3 different games in the series brought something new to the series, which adds a little bit more variety, and thus makes it a perfect crime solving game, in my opinion, which anybody can enjoy. So that's Chronicles of Crime Millennium series on number 7. On number 6 is going to be Burgle Bros 2, the Casino Capers. Burgle Bros is a game similar to a co-op game about, similar to Pandemic. You can always say every co-op game tries to enhance something like that, that you have a limited amount of actions, you will be moving, taking some actions. but the theme is about something like Ocean's 11, where you're trying to steal things from a map. Now, Burgle Bros 2 is set in a casino. And the unique thing they brought in this one is that even though you're trying to move around, trying to be sneaky and move away from these guards, it simplified the game mechanics from Burgle Bros 1. It simplified the movement of these guards. Plus, after you have stolen the things from the safe, the game was very similar in Burgle Bros 1 that you had to just escape, but in this one, you will have to reveal a finale card, which is going to give you a very bombastic ending. Every time that you are going to play, a grand finale is you're going to face, which is going to give you some stories to explain later on once you are done with the game. And that's the beauty of any game, that you talk about a game after you are done with it. And that's what Burgle Bros 2 is going to bring to you. Now, on number 5 is going to be, moving from robbers theme to spy theme, is going to be Vienna Connection for Portal Games. Vienna Connection is a re-implementation of the detective series from the same company. The detective series was a very heavy and thinky true crime solving type of case. There were many files. You had to use again an app or website like Wikipedia to actually solve cases, match fingerprints, check out news, and check camera footages, things like that, that are going to help you solve different kind of cases. What Vienna Connection has done is now set, using the same mechanics, set the theme in 1970s Cold War era. And using that theme, now you are a CIA agent checking a crime, a murder that has happened in Vienna, and now you're trying to solve the case there. But they have enhanced the game by adding more deciphers. There are going to be, again, the app is still there, but there is, I think, less dependency on the app, which actually made me feel better because you get to face the items, physical items more. Plus, the good thing was, and the app is actually the good thing in this one, because the way you actually need to use Wikipedia to actually link the real events that happened with the case elements. That's actually the most fascinating thing about this game. And you're going to love when you find these links, that how they link those events. So that was really cool. And in this one, the good thing, as a sequel or innovative thing, there are going to be branching paths. So you're not going to just fail if you are not able to solve everything, but if you are able to succeed more, you are able to resolve better things. So for example, in addition to solving the case, you were in addition able to catch the KGB agent. So you get to read an additional passage in the story. So even though the overall story is going to be still a linear story, but there can be additional things that can happen. So some branches can happen, which was a good thing in the overall scheme of things. Now that's number 5, Vienna Connection. On number 4 is going to be Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. Now, Terraforming Mars needs no introduction. A game about terraforming Mars, about making it habitable for the future generations, different companies coming to Mars and using tableau building to do different kind of experiments, or well, not experiments, scientific means to actually make it more habitable. Increasing the temperature, producing water on the surface, things like that. And all of that goodness is still there. Ares Expeditions was produced as a card game version of Terraforming Mars. And even though all that tableau building is still going to be there, it went away with the board of the game and came in with more beautiful components, more beautiful artwork. Especially gone away are the mix mash of different clip arts and stock photographs, and now it has beautiful artwork on the cards. Plus it uses some of the mechanisms of you choose and everyone follows kind of mechanism, which was introduced in games like Race for the Galaxy. And using those mechanisms, the game actually introduces enough variety that it is enough difference while giving you still the flavor of Terraforming Mars, and that's why it's a very good alternate to Terraforming Mars, the big box game. So that's my number 4, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. On number 3 is going to be a personal choice, which is going to be MicroMacro Crime City Full House. Now, there is no real innovation in this sequel, so that's why I said this is more of a personal choice. I'm putting this on number 3 just based on personal preference, just as a game. As a sequel, it didn't introduce anything really innovative, but it's just more of the same. But the original game was so good. Now in this game, you're going to be given a huge map in which it's like a Where's Waldo kind of thing, that you're going to find a specific character. You're trying to solve cases again. But the picture, the whole map is kind of a unique map because it's not just a map or a snapshot, but it's multiple snapshots in time laid on one picture, one big map. So the same character can appear at different locations at different times. So you're trying to actually string the theory of what the person was doing using the story cards that are given to you, in which that you will be solving the case itself. So the case might be saying, okay, somebody died, try to find out who murdered him. So you will be finding in the whole huge map where the dead body is, and then trying to find who was around him, who murdered, and then trying to follow the path of that person. Where did he come? Why did he murder? What may be the reason? And you will be asked questions. And as long as you have tried to solve everything, you will be getting the reward that you really solve the case. Now the only innovation they brought is that now in the full house version, these cases have different symbols to indicate to you that what kind of crime it is. So in case you want to play with younger children and you want to avoid cases like murder, then you can skip those cases. So, but just as a game, that's why I put it at number 3. Number 2 is going to be The Crew Mission Deep Sea. The Crew is a family favorite of mine. It's a trick-taking game, but a co-op one. Now, a co-op trick-taking game really doesn't work. What a trick-taking game means is that you will be having a hand of cards. Everyone plays a card, and the first card which anyone plays, whoever plays the highest number of that card wins the trick. Generally, that's the gist of the game. But how it makes co-op is that every time a mission is given, so someone needs to win, a specific person needs to win, for example, the 6 of a blue color. So you need to, without talking to each other, need to somehow manage that. How you don't even know who has the 6 of blue, but somehow you need to manage that that particular person gets to win that 6 of blue, and the game really works fine. But what I was one day sitting with my wife and then wondering, because we were discussing that we should play it with some other friends, and we were discussing, but how will this original box work out? Because we are playing a series of missions. Well, we will have to start from the beginning and then start playing with them. It wouldn't be really fair because it has kind of a story as well about going to space. So what the Crew 2 Mission Deep Sea game is the perfect solution. Now, instead of a series of missions that you have to do, the Mission Deep Sea has a deck of cards which randomizes the missions that you're going to play with. So each time, rather than having always the mission number X is going to be that 6 of blue, you will always have a random mission. You will shuffle those cards, and based on the difficulty of the mission will just tell you a difficulty level. You will shuffle those cards and you will take out as many cards as the difficulty number until you reach that difficulty number, and those number of cards are going to give you your new mission. So anytime you pick up new cards, a new mission pops up. And that randomizes the type and variety of missions you are going to play every time. So that adds more life to the game itself. So that's why it's a perfect sequel to already a perfect game. Number 2, The Crew Mission Deep Sea. Now, number 1 is going to be Night of the Living Dead, a Zombicide game. Now, this game may have even gone away with the Zombicide title, but they kept the Zombicide title because that's how much different the game is, in my opinion. And that's why I think it makes a perfect sequel. Now, Night of the Living Dead is based on 60s era, I think, John Romero movie. I have never seen the movie. It's too black and white for me. So I haven't seen the movie. So I don't have a link to the theme of the movie, but I do understand the theme. Zombie theme is, who doesn't understand that? So it's set in that era where you are facing these zombies and you are real people. You're not those zombicide heroes who are going with katanas and machine guns and chopping those zombies out. This game is not about that. This game is about the dread. This game is about saving yourself. This game is more about the fear of those zombies. So there are no crazy zombies, there are no runners, there are no abominations in this one. These are real human-like zombies that are coming, and you are trying to save yourself inside the home. You are barring up the doors and trying to save yourself. Now, these characters can go crazy and improve their abilities and go into zombicide mode as well. But the main essence of the game is the John Romero theme of the zombie dread itself. And that was the unique thing that differentiates it from all the other zombicide games. And if you're looking for something unique in the zombie scenario, rather than killing a bunch of guys by throwing dice, then this will give you the perfect alternate to a very somber theme. And that's why it's my number one pick, Zombicide, or Night of the Living Dead, a Zombicide game. So that's it for me, the top 10 sequels of 2021. Now, in the end, I will mention that there are some special mentions why these games didn't make the list. These are Cartographers, Heroes, King Domino's Origins, games like Welcome to the Moon. I know I'm going to like these games, but I haven't played those. These games are still very new. These games are still coming to the backers right now, are just being released in the market. They are still very fresh in the market, and that's why these games have not been evaluated against this list. So that's why these games are not on this list, those games which were recently released. But other than that, I hope this list was useful to you. And if you have played any of these previous ones, you will have, at least from this video, got a little bit of hint that what the new game brings, which your old game didn't have. And that should be enough for you to have an enjoyable time or make a decision in your mind that whether you are interested now in buying the new version of this game or not. That's it for me. Happy gaming.